They came, they saw, and in true Land Rover style went above and beyond. If one of the many light-hearted jokes about the Landy, as they are affectionately known, are to believe, it might have taken them a little longer than the average driver to get there. But more than 110 Land Rovers made their way to UIs during the last weekend of August for the Namibia Land Rover Festival. Landy owners are known for the value and nostalgia they attach to their cars. It is thus no surprise that the Land Rover Owners Club was established, who in turn organized the first ever festival of its kind. And the car dates as far back as 1948, and since then there has hardly been a role the vehicle did not fulfill, as it was even used in wars and peacekeeping missions. Landy fanatics go ballistic when they can lay their hands on older models, and if you own a model from 1948 like the Roberts family from Kamanyap, you can consider yourself as being amongst the elite in the Landy fraternity. The Roberts' Land Rover was one of the oldest at the festival, where some cars dated back to before even windows could wind up or down, or even before wipers were used. The idea behind the festival was to have fun, share information, and to discuss modifications and technical know-how to keep the vintage models on the road, since spare parts are not easily available for the older models. Off-road driving skills were tested over the various obstacles, and as the majority of the Landy owners are outdoor enthusiasts, competitions like who could erect a tent the fastest and wheel changing added to the fun. Only a handful took on the mine dump challenge, taking their Landies up a steep slope of loose sand mined from the pit. Although it seems doable at first sight, it was not easy, as the climb was quite steep, and with only loose sand, traction was not easy. But with skills and harmony between the owner and his Land Rover, a handful managed the obstacles. One of the drivers who did not make it told NAMPA he lost momentum while going uphill and had no choice but to give up, something Land Rover owners rarely do.
Most probably a 5, it's tough, it's long.
As is to be expected, there was the comparison of the various models and how the car has changed over the years. The shapes and rolls of Landies have changed drastically. To some, the modern shapes of the latest Land Rover Discovery Sport with its 8-speed automatic transmission was not as eye-catching as the first models built back then. The older generation was box-shaped, with huge gaps between the doors and the body, and aerodynamics was not a factor. Comparing the latest models with those who came from the production lines in 1948 is totally unfair, as safety and technology factors have changed drastically since then. Electric windows, power steering, center locking, and driver's assistance, to mention a few, makes life much easier for owners today. Back then, even the whole process of getting the vehicle into low or high range in off-road conditions was done manually. Today, the push of a button in an air-conditioned car that does everything to adapt to driving conditions, regardless of the terrain, makes life much easier. One such owner, Toy Dippenaar, hails from Kamanyap area and knows all about hardship and farming.
Maar boerdery, Land Rover, hand aan hand.
Despite Land Rovers normally being seen as slow cars, as they were initially designed for hard work and not speed, one of the main attractions at the festival was the Landy drag racing. Though spectators with mixed emotions were not disappointed, as those who took part ensured that dust was kicked up, and the roaring of some of the V8 motors drowned the spectators' cheers. Some of the more vintage models even went up against a few brave athletes who outsprinted the Landies in the first few meters. The Old Faithfuls, however, overtook the runners at the finish line 100 meters away. then the weekend ended on a high note with a mass ride of more than 100 Land Rovers through the streets of the normally quiet mining town the Sunday morning before all participants took on the long road back home. One of the participants and organizers, Henry Bischoff, told NAMPA the event was well organized.
Well, I think very successful. You know, for a town like UIs, we really enjoyed ourselves here. I think everybody here enjoyed themselves, as well as our visitors from across the borders. A great success.
When the next Landy festival will take place is yet to be decided, with the next club meeting taking place sometime early September. But those who missed the festival can rest assured that there will be another festival in the near future. Until then, it is Land Rover greetings from Namibia.